Welcome, everyone, to today's exciting installment. Okay, let's go on. So we have an agenda, folks, so let's deal with it. What I might do is just give the folks who are here for the first time a bit of a chance to quickly introduce yourself, though. Nothing scary. Just you've got to tell us your favourite dessert and the type of stuff you do and what you do with Canvas. So, Jerry, do you want to kick off for us?
Oh, favorite dessert, too many to choose. So, I love one shot of sweet. So, yeah. I'm part of the AMS team working at Builder Academy. So I manage the Canvas side of the business. Basically, yeah.
Helps if I unmute myself. That's great, Jerry. Thank you very much. Anthony, this is your first time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about yourself and your chocolate or dessert or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe ice cream. I love ice cream. Yeah. So MRG training. So we have a training RTO based in Queensland, specialise in hairdressing and barbering, a little bit of retail as well too. But so just sort of started to, over the last 12 to 18 months, started to roll the canvas out to all our students. So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And Sulov.
Yes, I represent like ECA. It's a vet colleges all over Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. They have multiple branches, and I am currently managing two of the RTOs under ECA. It's called ACCLM. It's related with health-related course in Brisbane, and other three colleges, or like located in Brisbane, Sydney, as well. And so I look after entire Canvas. Currently, I have been provided other team members to upload and do all those stuffs. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm kind of administrator out there.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I'm a little bit the same, Sulov, and I think many of us here are, except the fancy people here who have teams of 2 or 3. All power to you guys. Now, Paul, you've been here before. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have, Damien. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I think everyone else has been here before. Is that correct? Is there anyone else who's here for the first time? Okay.
No one's ever going to put their hand up for that. After that, no one's going to.
Look, I understand that. That's why I try to be very careful, and that's why I erred on the side of caution with Paul, for which he will hopefully forgive me. So let's move forward and let's look at the agenda for today. Now, if you had a look at the agenda, you would have seen there's a best dressed prize today, and that's why a couple of us have gone all out to try and win a swag pack. So the option is still there. If you have something handy or need to mute your video to go and put on your full Christmas outfit, the earrings that hang down to the floor. Joanne's rolling already. Please don't hesitate to go and grab it, because there is a swag pack up for grabs today. So that's on the agenda. And then we've got first thing on the agenda is learn how to subscribe to all things Vet User Group so you'll never miss a thing. Now, I think that's a cue to hand over to you, Adam, to tell us all about it.
Yeah, so just a little bit about that is that moving forward on that particular thread that I've sent in the chat, if you haven't seen it, I'll put it up for again. If you'd all like to, virtual, and this is, can I just say, virtual fancy dress doesn't win, okay? It's got to be real. Okay, so just to clear that up, I understand Damien does look the best, but he's digitally enhanced. We can't accept that, unfortunately.
No digital enhancements.
I
totally concur.
A prize pack for his knee earlier this year, so he doesn't need any more. So if you go down into that, if you go down into the link I've just sent you, as you can see there, we've just started introducing a new thing to the to Canvas community called labels. Now, labels actually are searchable items that you can actually subscribe to. So what we're going to do is anything that's officially leased from Canvas moving forward, we're going to tag them with registered training organisation, user group -vet, and vocational education and training. By clicking on those labels there, when you log into community, you can actually subscribe to those labels. So you'll get informed when new things come up that is official from us. It's just a way to help make these things a lot easier to navigate, because we do understand that people just don't have the time to search the community all the time. But if it's something that's genuinely interested in what they want to do, subscribe to one of those. Anything that's official from us and our team will put out. New announcements, obviously, for upcoming webinars like what we're having now, user group catch-ups and things like that will be included on the user group vet. So if you subscribe to that one, every time I put something up for the user group, I'll link it to these 4 items here. APAC is obviously everything APAC, so that's K-12 and higher education. So I understand if you don't want to subscribe to that one, because that one does go off a lot more than others. So that's something that we're going to be introducing a lot more in 2021. We're also going to go back and historically tag all the old items as well. So it'll bring them in under that subscription thing. So we're going to be doing that very, very soon. That's my Christmas holiday / working through / admin time. And that's it on that one.
Sounds awesome. So is there any questions for Adam or anything else you want to ask about, about the vet user group or the community? Are there any questions you'd like to ask? This is a great chance to ask, and don't hesitate to ask the dumb questions, because we probably don't know the many answers anyway. So ask away, please.
Cool. You got a kid screaming in the background, please feel free to put it on the chat. I totally understand.
Adam, sorry, can I just ask a question? When you said subscribing to the labels, so
Yeah.
that link that you've got there, I've clicked on, is it for the vet user group November? Is that the link?
No. So if you scroll down to the bottom of that, you'll see where it says registration. There should be a button there that says labels, and it should have four buttons on it. Yep. So you just click on the one that you want to subscribe to.
Okay, yep.
And that will bring up, so it works like a tagging system. Like, for instance, if you're on a blog or something like that and you like everything that's about Tasmania, as soon as you click that, all the articles that are tagged for Tasmania will come up.
Okay.
You need to log in to subscribe, though. You can't just subscribe straight from to log into the community to activate the subscription.
Yeah, okay, that's the trick I think I was after. Yep, awesome, thank you.
Clearing that up. So that wasn't a silly question. That was a great question.
Ta.
Awesome.
Yeah, what I'm finding is I'm logged in and then I click on the label and then it takes me to another page, and up the top there it says showing articles with label of whatever and subscribe. Then you click the subscribe little link at the top there.
And then that'll just send you a notification either the next time you log into the community, or if you've got email or a push notification set up, it'll send it to you as well. So yeah. I just know there was a lot of people asking, oh, how do I keep up to date with new stuff like that? That's going to be the best way moving forward. And anyone who produces an article, both Ruth and myself have signed up to this as well. So yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Now let's move on to the next agenda item, frequency and kickoff catch up for 2021. This is our last one for this year. How often should we get together in 2021? Thoughts? Let's start with that.
So at present, we do it monthly, starting in we can start in January, we can start in February, wherever you want. Options are we could do it bi-monthly and go for a longer period of time. Once again, doesn't bother me. Ruth and I can kind of do whatever. Ruth, unfortunately, not here because she's actually just celebrated the birth of their first child. So she only just came back yesterday. So unfortunately, she's a bit busy. So that's that. I have got some photos to share, which I should probably put up.
Please do, Adam, please do. Okay, Grace has written in the chat, continue with monthly. Natasha, you like monthly as well. Monthly for Joanne. Grace says the little ones are very cute. And Adam's now uploading the photos into the chat. Catherine's voting for monthly. I like monthly. I think monthly's been working really well rather than try to do something, every second month and make it longer. I like this frame we've got going with the 1 hour monthly. I think that's achievable. Is there anyone who's not a fan of monthly and thinks and wants to pose a persuasive case?
Sounds very much like monthly is the clear winner.
Yeah, well, let's declare that one. So when should we start again? Should we start in January or February? Pop your preferred response in the chat. Jan or Feb? Sarah's gone Feb. Joe's gone Feb. We've got a few Febs. We've got lots of Febs.
January is I just feel that this holiday break coming up is going to be something else considering the year we've had. And I just feel no one's really going to be switched on till at least the start of February.
Look, I agree.
That's my initial thoughts.
Paul gets a vote from me because he's the high achiever in the group. He does want to start in January. Catherine is super flexible as always and will go either. But there are lots of votes there for February. So let's call that a win for February.
Cool. So what I'll do, team, is based on that, I'll create a new blog post. I'll put that up. Once again, I'll continue to email you all as well to let you know and give you as much notice as possible. I'll also create a new link to have discussion topics that you can then put in and discuss as part of the agenda, which has been really cool. Back over to you, Damien.
Got a mouthful of chocolate. It's Christmas. First item, moving on. Who is the best person to ask for help? We'll discuss this article.
Yes.
Can you pop the article link in the chat for anyone who isn't looking at the moment, please?
Most definitely will. So this is something that we have had a lot of traction with. It's something to help you, or maybe you've got admins or someone like that, of how they can actually reach out and help. It's just a clear way to identify, when do I reach out to support? When do I reach out to the CSM, and what are the gray areas in between? And also how you escalate stuff if you're not familiar with that as well. What we're tending to find is that the field admin console has been updated to include a automatic chat function with our support team now, which is available to the field admins of your organization. So a lot of people didn't know that existed. And once they get on there and talk to support, they are tending to find their answers quicker. Obviously with COVID, some of you probably would have caught up. There was some pretty significant wait times. We do apologize for that. But learning how to best get your answers, or when to reach out to the CSM in the initial instance is a really great thing. So just put that there. Please feel free to read it. Please feel free to share with your peers or anyone else who indulges with Canvas to make sure that they understand. Also, feel free to leverage off this to build your own custom way that your internal guys can reach out. So that's going to be our official document going forward. Any changes or updates, we'll update accordingly.
Okay, sounds good, Adam. Now, the fancy little chat button, that's only for admins at certain organizations. Is that correct?
That's correct. If you do have tier 1 support set up, which I'm pretty confident no one here has, but that actually turns on the chat to our support team from Canvas. So that means teachers and admins can both use it. But if you're using just standard support, you can chat directly to a support operative if you are a field admin. So you can log that in directly from your Canvas. If you don't have that link set up in your Canvas help menu, please email csteamapac@instructure.com and I'll actually put that in the help menu for you. So that's fine. That's a really easy thing for us to do.
So is that different to the, ask your instructor a question or whatever it is?
Yeah. So ask your instructor a question actually goes to all the teachers that are actually in Canvas. Whereas the field admin console will actually you'll only get in there if you're the nominated field admin. So heaps of people will click on it and then it'll just go to dead space. But from there, you can actually go in and see all your support cases. You can go in there and chat to support. There's also videos on how to use the field admin console, as well as you can get reporting data on your questions coming in, like who's asking them, what topics are they asking on. Some of our bigger clients use that for ongoing training to make sure that people are clearing up. Because if they get a lot of questions about, let's say, logging in or modules, they know they need to change that part of the process. So you can use that. It's totally up to you.
Okay, now I suspect there's going to be some questions about all of this, so folks, fire away.
I hope not. It means I've trained everyone well.
No, I'm expecting questions, Adam. I'm just Any questions about getting help from Canvas? Fire up.
Is anybody else, these things are just itchy. No, everyone's safe. I think we've got the best users of support here. That's a good thing.
Well, maybe we just don't need support. We're that good.
Whoa, true.
Yeah. You can put the thumbs up, Colleen, but I was being satirical. But anyway, let me find the agenda and we'll move on to the next one. Learning resources updates. The first one, grading options for vocational education. And there's a link to a fantastic article. And I believe that this is the article that Ruth probably put up at some stage. Yes.
Correct.
There's some really good stuff here that's going to help some of us. So do you want to lead us through this, Adam? Because you've obviously given this a bit of thought, and the complete incomplete thing is the simplest of them all, but very well targeted towards RTOs. So
yeah,
do you want to lead us through this?
Yeah, so what we've actually decided as part of the original, this was done a long time ago with Amelia and Ruth. We were building out articles that were specific for RTO because it wasn't something that Canvas ever focused on. We had the experience currently in-house and still do have with Ruth, having previously run a RTO as well as Tori, I should say. So what we've done is we've developed certain articles to help explain key concepts. So the one is creating grading options for vocational education, whether it's satisfactory, not yet satisfactory, competent, not yet competent. The words don't mean anything. It's about how we can then use the numbers for marks to then portray that in Canvas to what you need to see. Secondly, the big one there is observation reports as an assignment. That is something that is really, really, really cool. And we're actually really excited. Oh, which one? Did I not put it in? Oh, sorry. I might have jumped the gun here. Yeah, sorry. That's one.
There you go.
I got chopped off. It did get chopped off. Sorry, my apologies. There they are. They're both there. The other one is that we're really excited about is the observation report. Now, the reason for that is that you may have remembered last user group, we talked about student enhancements, assignment enhancements for students. The next part of that is they're going to be hopefully, fingers crossed, it's currently in your test environment. There's a thing called student enhancement teachers. Now, with that new technology that hopefully we introduced, teachers actually have the ability to upload work on behalf of students. So as you can imagine, if you were, say, videoing an observation report, you could actually video it, do everything you need. The assessor can then upload that into Canvas and use the speed grader as an observation report to then fill it out. So what that means is the student's actually getting real-time feedback on their video of what they're actually doing. Audit purposes, as you can imagine, this literally makes it bulletproof because people can not only see have they not only filled out the observation report correctly, but what were they actually looking at when they were filling it out, which is a big gap that we currently have. So I think it's going to be really good. And most importantly, the student gets live feedback, which would be
and
awesome.
also verbal assessments, I would think, for LLM.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you can also remember give feedback via video in the speed grader as well. So it just encourages that interactiveness. And obviously, the more we get this, we get bigger pushes towards video as well. So yeah, it's a little bit further down the track, but we're excited for that when it comes out. Number one advocate right here.
Can TAs do that as well as teachers?
So yeah, so that will be part of the permissions. Now the permissions are going through a change over the next 2 months. They are getting granular as well. So it'll be part of the, currently, if you were to turn it on now, it'll be part of the edit assignment submissions. I think it's currently add, edit, delete assignment is the permission. I think that's actually getting changed to, there's going to be 3 specific permissions instead of just 1. So you can give a TA an add or an edit assignment, but they can't delete it.
Is there a rough idea of when you think that'll come out, or just an estimate?
Well, the good thing is it's in the test environment, so that means it exists. So I always get excited when I see it in the test environment. It's actually been built. So yeah, we are hoping. As I said, I am the biggest advocate of this. Purely for 2 reasons. One, for younger learners as well, like K to 6s. The teacher can actually film the students engaging, put it in there. Their parents can then watch what they're doing from the observer point of view, and they can also create a development for them as well, which I think is really neat. And yeah.
Observer make a comment? or sign off or do anything like that?
An observer. So an observer, well, it's called parents after observer. No, they can't. They're purely, so it depends on what permissions you give them as well as an observer, and what they're entitled to see. I know that a few RTOs, bigger RTOs that we deal with, they have, say, state managers, or I know for one company we deal with who deals like a big car company, they actually have state managers who actually are observers over all the people, and they can log in as an observer and see how their students are going, and obviously can then use that to say, hey, I noticed that you haven't done this yet, or this yet, or whatever it may be. So it's basically like an overarching view. It's not an admin, like they can't log in and change anything. They literally can only see the students that they are linked to.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a quasi-trainer role where we've got a workplace supervisor that needs to sign off on someone having done something, but they're not actually the course trainer.
Okay, so in that particular case, if they need to sign off anything in Canvas, you wouldn't use an observer. What I'd suggest you do is create a new permission based off the teacher role and edit that accordingly.
Thank you.
Because that means they can actually log in and change things, where an observer strictly can only view things.
Thank you.
Awesome.
More questions about these things?
I do. I get excited.
Yeah, I just want to know, is anyone actually using this at the moment? So it's something that's really interesting to us for both role play type situations and also our verbal assessments.
It's a great question. We honestly, from our point of view, we only see it used very sparingly. There's a little bit more admin involved to set them up, but I think the rewards are definitely there.
I think we'll be using it, but we're brand new, so not there yet.
Yeah. Firstly, when we always roll out with observers, it's usually in a K-12 environment because it's usually parents. And we normally say, do not do it unless you've got consistency across like grading, marking, all these sorts of things. Because when you bring a parent in, they just know A means good and E means bad. There's no, do you know what I mean? You need, and if they don't have a result for a course, does that mean their student failed? Like, so you've got to prepare the education. I think if you're using it for, in your cases, you're actually using people that already understand. They're more doing it from a monitoring point of view to making sure people are being kept up to date. So I think that's a slightly easier way to use it. Obviously, there's a mobile app as well, so people can just check it on the fly and things like that as well, which is really cool.
We have brought this up with our assessors. That's something that we may be using in the future, and it wasn't warmly welcomed, I suppose, at the starting point, which was probably because they're used to having a checklist and, you know, maybe the additional pressure, I suppose, of their performance in the role play kind of situation also being recorded. So I think that's not a Canvas issue for us. It's probably more of a challenge of breaking down that barrier and helping our trainers to feel comfortable with that situation.
Yeah, and also it's also really good to use, say, a test, like have someone as a test and play around with those permissions as well to make sure that there isn't something that they shouldn't see or can't see. Or you might even come up, they go, it might be a teacher. It might be a variant of the teacher role versus being an observer role as well. Or possibly an admin role, like a very basic admin role where they have the ability to see all the courses across the root account or the sub account and be able to jump in, but they can't actually edit anything. They can just see everything.
We're planning to, well, I think we'll use it for a couple of things. One is for very vulnerable learners that won't necessarily be engaging through Canvas. It means that we can still have all our central assessments in one place. And the other is the LLN, where a trainer is working with someone to do an assessment verbally, and they can upload it where there's digital literacy issues.
Yeah, I to be perfectly honest, it's something that we haven't really pushed it because it's kind of like a very custom case where it needs to be. But remember, you can always book in time. This would be one of the cases where you definitely book in time with your CSM, explain what you're trying to achieve, and then we can kind of go, that would be more suited to a teacher role, or that would be more suited to a TA or an observer. Those are the sorts of things that we need to really consider.
Any other questions or comments on this item, guys? We do have some other agenda items that we will be rolling through. Okay, let's move on. Marita's asked a question in the chat, and so we're popping that on as an agenda item now, and it's something I wanted to ask about today as well. Who's been using the new assignments enhancement feature? So the assignments roll across the page with the little dots type situation. Yes, Adam?
I've been using it.
Thanks, Adam. That's great. Who else has been using it? No one.
I can't wait to use it, but we just haven't got the chance yet to switch it over. So
that's okay, because it's able to be switched over as of what, a few weeks ago, Adam, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So it is in full production. If you're the root level admin, go to admin, go to settings and go to the feature options. It's down the very bottom. If you want to test it first in a course, switch it to what's called allow. That means you can turn it on in the individual courses. But if once you're happy with it, everyone's trained on it, then I would suggest rolling it over to on.
So, Adam, the big question I want to ask, and I think this is what Marita wants to ask as well, is how's it going? What are you seeing out there in the universe? Is it working well, or what's the feedback?
The feedback we've had, especially depending on how the business gives people their feedback. I know some people give their feedback on specific forms, like you've got to fill that feedback on a specific form. It gives the student a chance to go back and have a thorough look at what actually happened. The other thing that it leads itself to, which I think is probably the best way, it actually encourages the assessors or markers to actually go in there and give more detailed feedback the first time, because then they can go back to it and see it and actually go, right, this is what I need to do a second time, where before, as soon as you submit that, you actually lose it from iteration to iteration. So some people might do 2 or 3 submissions, right? So it's a really good way for them to go through and see it. The UI is super easy. It's got that new quizzes kind of feel. It's very simplistic and structurally easy to follow. So yeah, we've had some pretty positive feedback. There is one caveat at the moment. I should probably say caveats, is that if you do turn it on, don't turn it off. Okay. The reason for that is that what happens is that because you're in a situation where the student can go back and view previous submissions, if you then turn it off for some strange reason, and there's a pour in it to get it fixed, but is that I do believe it makes the first initial thing very difficult to then prescribe. I mean, you can only download it. It doesn't work inside the SpeedGrader. I think that's the issue it kind of has. So if you're going to do it, turn it on. Once people have turned it on, it's been fine. I think it's been done on a handful of occasions when someone's turned it on, then turned it off. That's why we have the allow button.
Okay. So I suppose the advice is use the test environment, give it a shot there, or use the allow and maybe test it in one course where maybe students are only in that course and not across other courses, so they get confused by the different looks. Would that seem like good advice?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you need to, if you have got any sort of user manuals that explain to students how to upload assignments, you'll need to change those, definitely. And it obviously inform any admin users or frontline staff that if students are asking that questions, you need to give them training on how this new one looks. It's very intuitive. I don't think it's going to take them long to pick it up, but you just don't want your team looking and going, whoa, what's this? Like that just, yeah, you don't want that sort of vibe.
Okay. You mentioned an effect. Oh, thanks, Damien. You mentioned an effect on SpeedGrader.
Yep.
Could you say a little bit more about that? Just so
it means that the original files don't appear in SpeedGrader. You have to download them. Okay. Right. So, or if you're doing any on-paper edits or anything like that, they've been disappearing.
Yeah, thanks.
They don't show in the doc viewer, is what you're saying, Adam.
Correct. Yeah, nailed it, Damien.
Okay.
So can I just clarify something here, because I must admit I haven't looked into this, and my apologies if I'm going back on something. So at the moment, the way the kids have trouble seeing what comments are made to actually redo their quizzes. So
yeah, so I'll explain it first, is that previously on assignments, students could never see previous attempts. They now can.
Yeah.
So what they are doing is that people are then, instead of like, because they know they're going to submit it again, what we're seeing is a lot of teachers just give feedback in the comments section instead of drafting up the work. But now, considering the student can always go back and historically see those sorts of things, we're finding that they're having a better use of that technology to update the docs or the viewer and those sorts of things as well.
And this is assignments, not quizzes.
Correct. Yes. Don't talk to me about new quizzes. Okay. I'm busy.
No, this is old quizzes.
No, we're not. No, we're only talking about assignments here. Quizzes is another topic. Not today. Another time. Book it in.
Yeah, this is the assignments where they upload. That's what we're talking about here.
Can I just ask, we're actually having, like for us, this was going to be a lifesaver because we have, for our observations, we have one assignment with one rubric per attempt. 3 attempts is our assessment policy. So for every assessment, for every observation assessment the student has to do, they actually have to have 3 assessment tasks, which is not okay. The reason why we need to do that is because the teachers are using the rubric to market while they're on the run, out in workshops, in salons, whatever. And what happens is there's no audit trail on the rubric. So if, for instance, in the grading history and things like that, if they pick not satisfactory and then the second attempt they pick satisfactory, there's no record of the not satisfactory ever having happened. So that's why we've had to create 3 different assignments. It's significantly slowing down our courses according to Canvas. We've spoken to them about it because some courses got 200-300 assignments in there. So we need to, anyway, when we were talking to Ruth, she thought this was going to be our lifesaver because of the journey that you can see. And like you say, the student interface is absolutely perfect. It's literally perfect. The issue is if there's more than one submission from the teacher's perspective, they don't see the same journey as what the student does. And that's where we're in strife. This was going to change everything. It was going to be a game changer.
Yes. So you know how I was talking to you earlier before about, this is called the student, assignment enhancement student.
Yep.
If you go to your test environment and turn on assignment enhancements teacher.
In test or beta.
As a test.
Yep.
You will be very happy.
Okay. So I'm guessing that's going to fix it. So we're going to get a similar comparative view between the student and teacher.
Correct.
And what's the timeline on that? Because I've got tools.
As I said, I was shaking my head.
I know. I'm trying.
Joanne's like same thing. I go, he's asking the same question. I don't really know.
Okay. Is there any way we can influence that timeline, or what is there a voice? I work for the government. There isn't any.
No.
Can we bribe you, Adam?
Sorry?
Can we bribe you?
You can bribe me all you want. I don't think it's going to work. I'll take the money. As it's one of those things where I've definitely asked about. I've asked about it because it is front. But the first thing is that it should have been out faster, but obviously COVID changed that. We're really reluctant to change assignments when so many people are coming online really fast. You don't want to start changing UIs and things like that at mass scale. The fact that the student ones come out is awesome. The teacher is actually the next part of that component. I can actually show you, what is it? Yeah, Ruth and I, we're all really excited about what it actually can do. Now I know this says new student, but it's the same area. So I'm just going to put this in the chat. Oh, don't want to send that privately to Damien. That's where you can find everything on student enhancements, the update, and it's part of a greater assignment enhancements project. So yeah, I can't give a time. I don't want to give a time because that would literally be like shooting myself in the foot.
Okay. So what will happen with us is we won't be able to use it until then, because at this point in time, it'll give our teachers and students 2 different views. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and some people have expressed that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but you need to roll out one before you roll out the other, just to make sure the technology then sinks into the next bit, because they are two distinct views. So so that's probably everything that you'll need for there. But yeah, it'll be fun. Trust me, the second that comes out, we'll be doing a webinar on it, because it affects like vocational education, RTOs, K to 12s, K to 6s, K to 2s. Like, it affects so many different realms.
Awesome. That sounds good. That sounds valuable. Marita, you started this shindig. Do you have any other questions here, or anyone else?
No, I think I'm all good. I just wanted to try and work out a way to make that work, but it's obviously on the roadmap.
Yeah. And as I said, if you log into your test environment and you want to get excited about how it can look and how it's going to work, you can definitely go in there.
Is there a group for us to, like a testing group, when they brought out new quizzes? Sorry for swearing at you.
You're not swearing.
And there's a group.
That video, that enhancement section is probably where it is. But if you want, what I can do is, if you'd like to just email me on csteamapac@instructure.com and just say, following up from the user group connection, can I get put down? Because what I may do is that we've got a APAC product manager in region. I might be able to put you down for when if there's further development required. Most of the development was done like a year and a half, 2 years ago, but it's always good, especially Marita coming from TAFE. It's also really good to get it done at scale, because you tend to come across more use cases for how it's actually done. So please feel free to send that through and I'll look after that personally.
Can you pop the email in the thing there? Because
sure, of course.
I think I wrote it down incorrectly. Thank you.
Guys, any other questions or comments on this topic? All right, we're going to move across to a new agenda item. Adam's shuffled a couple to me, so I'm just popping it in the chat now. The agenda item is, how do you gather user feedback on course content and design relative to unit stands? I would suggest when you have rolling enrollments, no defined terms or semesters. So the way I interpret this question is like a validation type question against your training. When you've got rolling enrollments, things are just rolling all the time. How do you hit that pause button and get user feedback on the course content and the design? And user feedback could be students or could be also assessors, I would presume. Does somebody want to stick their hand up as having asked this question, want to explain a little bit more what you're looking for? Then we're stuck with my interpretation, I suggest. And who'd like to address this first?
I can have a go, Damien. It's not my question, but I think I understand it. So we don't actually have much of a formal way of collecting feedback from our assessors and administrators on the way that Canvas looks, but they seem to provide it on a regular basis anyway, because they're the ones out there using it, either in classroom or supervising students online and getting the real contact with the students that sometimes the course designers and the managers don't actually, they don't get to hear all of that word of mouth. So what we do is we use VetTrack, and we have built vet surveys into certain sections of our course. So when they hit certain progress points of their course, after they've been through one unit, uploaded their first couple of assignments or whatever, we'll flick out a couple of questions there, and we're getting a pretty good uptake on that, because it's actually appearing inside a module in their course, and they don't have to open something from a separate email or whatever, and we are getting better responses or better returned responses from that. So that is something that works for us okay.
Yeah, look, my answer was very similar, Sarah, in the sense that we use a Survey Monkey, and as students finish one of the clusters, the Survey Monkey pops up and says, click here, it's optional assessment, and you're not going to be graded on it, come here and give us your feedback, and we collect it that way. We also have a similar thing called fast feedback. We use an add-in, an integration into Canvas, a product called Drop Thought for that, which I don't overly recommend currently. They're going through some changes, but we use that in a similar way, and it provides it's a very easy way of collecting feedback, and it goes to a separate interface that you log in and have a look at. That provides some really quick, easy feedback. So again, surveys is what we do, and even though it's rolling enrollments, we're able to get that feedback on an ongoing basis, which is actually good compared to having specific cohorts, because you actually start getting feedback faster as soon as people start finishing your fastest finishes. And then we get all the ad hoc stuff that you mentioned as well that we hear as trainers. What other ideas do people use to collect feedback about the learning design?
We use the actual survey feature in Canvas so that you can set up a survey. And we, even though it shows who's done the survey, we say to them if they don't want to answer the questions, they don't have to. It's entirely up to them. And admittedly, we don't have rolling enrolments, but the other thing we do is we have a Google form that's linked in the help section for the supervisors of our students, because ours are high school students and they have a TA status. And so there's a form there that if they're going through some of the discussions with the kids and they notice something that needs to be changed next year, they just can bring up this form, and it says which unit it is, what question it is, and what they're suggesting. And then that's just fed into a Google spreadsheet, and we can have a look at it before we start rewriting the course for the following year. We use blueprints for that too.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, you said you were using the survey functionality built in within Canvas. Was that the quizzes you're talking about, or something else?
Well, it's actually we just set up a form and then have a link in the help section that is only visible to the TAs and teachers.
Okay.
So you can actually, I can't remember how we did it, but I know it. Once you've set it up, you can actually sit the link in there, and it, as part of the help section, when they click on help, you've got your Canvas community and all that stuff. And then there's our better feedback form, and they can just click on that and at any time type in what they're thinking, so they don't have to wait to the end of the course to feed back to us. While it's fresh in their mind, they can do it. Having said that, not a lot of them use it, but we as staff use it quite a bit, so we don't forget.
Okay, no, that's great. There is an app that connects into Canvas as well, which is really, really cool. And I can't remember the name of it, but what it does is on your menu down the left-hand side, it sticks a feedback option there, and your students see it all the time. So anytime they can just click on that feedback, and it integrates through Canvas, and they don't go anywhere, and it provides the feedback back to, whoever you wanted, or your organization. I can't remember the name of the LTI, but it looked really, really cool. It was only price that held us back.
A sort of ad hoc way of doing that, Damien, is so if you try and test a new page or assignment or activity or something, and you just want to get that on the fly feedback for a certain section or cohort, it's quite easy just to embed using an iframe, like a Google form, or there's many other form builders out there. And I think best practice is to really keep your questions short. You could even just have it like, what do you think of this page? A really simple Likert scale, 1 or 2 questions, and then maybe a section for comments, so they can just quickly do it on the fly. It's a great way of testing something that you're rolling out new, and it costs nothing if you're using something like Google Forms. Very easy to embed using the editor.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Although as soon as you start mentioning iframe or HTML, I start getting nervous and my leg starts quivering, Paul. But that's all good, mate. And that does make a lot of sense and make it easy. And yes, you're absolutely right. Good survey design. If we want good response rates, fewer the questions, the better. Get rid of the questions you don't need. Any other comments or questions about this one?
I was also going to say as well, using the announcement, whether you want to do this globally across all of Canvas or just within your course, try use the announcements, because what you're actually doing is you can send out a survey using any of the technology you've mentioned for a specific amount of time, right? So the feedback you're getting is then current, and then you can then obviously version control what it's about. Now, obviously, if you've got 6 courses in Canvas running the same thing, the same subject, you probably want them to all use the same survey link. But what you're trying to do is reach out at the same time to pinpoint that. Using announcements is really cool because at least you can then ask that. And if you want to ask everyone in the school, send out a global announcement to all current users of the system, or send it out to just, if you want to give one to feedback for just teachers, just send it to the teachers. That might be another way to get a clearer share or segment that you're trying to actually get feedback from.
Yeah, we actually sent out a survey yesterday, Adam, and we were originally going to use the global announcement, but we only wanted to target one course. But rather than send out as an announcement for that course, we just used the inbox, the functionality, the Canvas communications to email all the students in that course. And so they all got an email saying, go to this survey and tell us what you want to do. Because we're looking at winding up that course because they've been enrolled for a long time, and gave them different options. Say, go to this survey, pick your option, then we'll know how you want help and we'll help you. So that's another option, is just use that Canvas communications, that inbox function to send emails. And of course, there's powerful options within the speed grader as well to target particular people as well, like people who haven't submitted a particular assessment. So that stuff is super powerful as well.
That's a really good point, Damien. That's a really, for even just knowing if people are still engaging with your course enrolling enrollments, to send that out. If you don't get a reply from it, then you'd have to automatically assume that, like, look, we've given them notice, like this is what we're going to do. We haven't heard anything back. When you start concluding that enrollment for that course, you know that some people might be rolling over to a new course or whatever that may be. But yeah, that's an epic point.
Yeah, and when we get complaints from the people who didn't respond and then get cranky that we shut down the course, we're going to send all those complaints straight to Adam Ware. So the email address we'll send is in the chat already. Any other questions or comments about this topic?
That was very cheeky.
It was very cheeky, but I thought it was a winner. Got a couple of smiles from the group. I'll take that as a big win. New agenda item in the chat, folks. Addressing the difference in teacher view/student view for rubrics across multiple submissions in the new assignment enhancements. So this is the new assignment enhancement. I have a feeling we touched on this earlier a little bit.
I think that was the one that I sent through.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we kind of touched on it. I sent these pre-Damien, and then we already started talking about it. So I was like, okay. But
all good.
It is definitely a thing, I should say, that has been raised, which is
has been addressed. That's what I thought. All right, here's another one. This one's from Grace. Are there any updates on the excused feature on assignments enhancements? So bringing the assignments enhancements, is there anything weird happening or unusual or different? Because for the excused ones, I've got to say I'm a huge fan of using excused. We use it all the time. Adam, any ideas here?
I'm feeling, Grace, we had a discussion about this, didn't we?
We did a little while ago, and I was just wondering if there are any updates on it, because this is sort of the main point that's stopping us from turning on the assignment enhancements, is the fact that if you do, so currently in the old assignments area, if you excuse a student from an assignment, what the student sees when they get to that assignment is that big excused word written, and then they can just continue on, go to the next page, and they can't do anything with that assignment because it has been excused. But with the assignment enhancements feature, if you turn that on and you excuse an assignment, what the student then sees, it doesn't say excused, it says submitted. And then that's a little bit confusing for the student because they're like, oh, I actually haven't submitted anything for this. But then it also still allows the student to submit, within that, they can still submit an assignment, which again is it's not really an excused feature. So yeah. There hasn't really been any updates on it, but I just thought.
Yeah. I can see that. Grace, I can see the case number here that you've raised with it, and I can see that
they just asked me to put it in the Canvas community.
Okay, could you, if you have that handy, could you put that feature idea in the chat for me?
Yeah.
Because I can see that the good thing about this is I'm in the back end looking now, and I can see that an engineer has been allocated to this ticket, which always gets me excited, which means I need to provide proof really fast.
Okay. I will
You've
find-
done the hard work. You've got to the top of the tree.
Cool. Okay, I will find the actual thing that I put through and I'll put a link in.
Yeah, if you could send that to me, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I mean, I could probably look for it, but you'd probably be way faster than I would.
Adam might be easily impressed, I think, Grace, that an engineer has been assigned. I want to create a case that's so important.
I don't get to talk to engineers. Grace gets to talk to them. It's not fair.
Look, I want to do something that's so spectacular that the panda is assigned to help me. So not that automatic panda thing either in the Canvas sport, but the real panda.
The real panda.
Yeah, the real panda.
Real panda's gone to sleep after CanvasCon, unfortunately.
I actually got to meet the panda and give the panda a hug. So these are the types of things that can happen if you go to InstructureCon, which Adam's going to give a big plug for at some stage when it's up and running again. We don't have dates or anything for InstructureCon.
No. 2021 is still a bit of a 2020 hangover at the present moment.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I once again, I'm as much as I had a much less stressful CanvasCon as I normally do. By not being being a virtual event, it definitely takes away from building those connections and doing those sorts of things as well. So
yeah, absolutely. The network
2021 that never happens again.
Yeah, definitely. Real pandas are all that smart. I think you meant to say they're probably not all that smart, but that's okay. We're talking about the InstructureCon Canvas Panda. Totally different beast, Colleen. You're not going to find this one at the zoo. I think I've covered all the agenda items we snuck in there at some stage, or have I missed something, folks?
Oh, there's just one.
Which one?
Who wins the best dressed?
Damn right.
There you go. Who wins? You could say that we prepared this earlier.
Oh, love it. You're on your best game, Adam. So, ladies, make sure you got your stuff on.
And you can vote more than once. You can vote on multiple people. Don't do this. Oh, Catherine. Oh, sorry, Catherine. I forgot your name.
Grace is doing the best demo of her earrings at the moment. Very, very funny.
They're handmade too, guys.
Oh, I know it's November, and I'm actually the Christmas Grinch. I'm one of those people that I think all shopping centres should be banned from putting up Christmas decorations till December. So I do realise this is kind of counterintuitive, but yeah, we
Joanne, I think it's pretty funny that when you have your microphone turned on, we can actually hear the tinsel rattling. You have that microphone turned on.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's been a minute.
Okay, we're getting our votes in, folks. Closed. Oh, want a drum roll.
And the winner is
Catherine, 67%.
It's always good when you got percentages and small numbers. You can really talk it up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, 67%. That's good. Yeah.
67% of all the people who are in the vet user group today voted for Catherine. Well done. Grace second, Joanne third, a very honourable third because the rest of us ran completely last behind you. So congratulations, Catherine. A swag is headed your way, apparently. Although, you know, being in the vet and RTO environment as I am, I always become a little bit concerned about the authenticity of our candidate submissions. And I'm wondering if that really is Catherine under there or some stunt double. So, you know, I might need to get
rude. I take offense at that remark.
Which is what our students sometimes do as well. How dare you call me a cheat?
How very dare you?
How dare you? Yeah,
well played, sir. Well played.
You got the same answer as 7 other people. Wanted to just check. All right. Any other quick questions before we finish? We're just about out of time.
Can I just ask a quick one? If there's something basic that has to be changed using an LTI, how can we ask Canvas to make it into a simplified procedure that happens instead of having, so for instance, if we've set someone up with an email address and they change their email address, you cannot delete it out of Canvas without using a LTI thingy, which I haven't had time to look in.
Oh,
That's a pretty basic function, I would have thought.
Okay, so they're changing their default communication email, is that correct?
Yeah, but unless they go through and cross off every single notification out of the old one, you cannot delete it. And I've been given the LTI stuff to actually do it, but I haven't had time to even get my head in that space. I would have thought that's a really basic function that should be able to be done.
Is this the student's contact details? Like, could you act as user and just get
You
rid of
can,
them?
no, there's not even the admin can delete the original default email when they change it.
Have you tried doing it, like, this is going to sound really silly. Have you tried doing it by CSV? Like pulling down?
No, there's no CS, even they said, no, there's no CSV. It's got to be an LTI thingy.
Oh, wait a minute. Has the student added a secondary email address? Is that the problem?
They've changed, like, or we've edited their email address to the new one, and it's just, yeah. To me, that's a really basic function.
I need.
I think it was Rio or one of the other guys gave me all the stuff to do it, but yeah, just wondering how we can. Like, if it's an LTI, can't they just turn it into a...
No. Well, I suppose they could, but...
Or into a CSV upload would be great. I don't mind that. But, yeah, to me, it seems like that's...
Colin, can you do me a favour? Can you forward me the last email conversation you had to our team, to that CS Team APAC address? I'll have a look at it because, yeah, I can't envisage what you're trying to achieve, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You've written it before, then I'll just use that.
Adam will sort it out. He's that
Or I'll break it.
We've got to a panda around here. All right, guys, we are at 11 o'clock. On behalf of myself, happy Christmas. And on behalf of everyone else here, have a happy Christmas too. And Adam, please pass on our best to Ruth. Very excited for her. And folks, have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you back here and in February. And keep an eye on the user group, and Adam will notify us when that's all on. Sound good? Anything else? We done?
No more bets.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your Christmas and festive seasons, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
See ya.
Good run.
Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho.
I hadn't finished
Away
recording.
we go.